you're going to have a full house, which is different. How does that affect the way you guys are teeing this up?
It will hopefully help people see that we're moving to a better place, that we're moving to a place where COVID, a pandemic that has definitely dominated all of our lives for 2 years now, hopefully we're going to get to a place where it's not going to dominate our lives, where we're not going to be thinking about it constantly in every moment.
We were at the West Wing, and that's White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki telling us about President Biden's message on more than one issue, including the rebound from COVID, dealing with inflation, and a jobs boom that the White House may not be getting much credit for, given the national malaise on many topics. As we gear up for special coverage, and Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and all our colleagues are coming up, we want to bring in Democratic strategist Juanita Tolliver on this big night. Welcome back to The Beat.
Hey, Ari, how you holding up?
I'm holding up all right. There's obviously a lot going on. It was interesting being at the White House there. And something that I talked to Jen about and that makes sense is reflected in this Gallup polling, where you have a larger gap from people's experiences to the economic data than you usually see. Take a look at this. When people look at their own life right now, after all the tough times we've been through, it's pretty high. 85% of Americans there are satisfied with their own life. When you look at the direction of the country, it crashes to 17%. Similarly, there's a USA Today poll showing that about half of people think we're in a recession, when in fact there's a record-breaking jobs boom amidst, yes, a lot of pain and problems. How does the president address that tonight?
I think first and foremost, he starts by recognizing the hardships that people say they're experiencing, right? Like inflation, the cost of groceries, paying rent. Today's March 1st, right? All of those things factor into how people are experiencing the day-to-day. And I think recognizing it, like the president really eloquently usually does when he talks about giving people breathing room, when he talks about how he recognized people struggle to make ends meet, starting there with the empathy before getting into all of the historic achievements that he has made, the 6.6 million in job creation. That's nothing to scoff at. But I think it's important to recognize there's a gap between, yes, these historic benchmarks and what people are experiencing every day. And that gap can also have an impact on voter behavior going into the midterms, where we know Republicans already have an enthusiasm gap over the Democrats.
Yeah, and as you say, a lot of Democratic leaders have to walk that line. They don't want to minimize what's going on, and that's even before Ukraine. But you also have to sell your own stewardship of an economy. No one else is going to do it for you, not in politics. Here was Speaker Pelosi here on the big night, and she'll be up there, of course, in that traditional role behind the president. Here was her remarks on MSNBC today.
We're very proud that the president has, under his term, 6.6 million new jobs were created. But people still are suffering. They have kitchen table concerns. I hope tonight that in addition to spreading the word about what good things and why we should be hopeful, you'll hear an empathetic speech about why we're concerned that this has not reached all of America's families.
Juanita, how about that?
That's the exact balance I think the president needs to strike today, Ari. Talk about those historic gains in creating jobs. Talk about the nosediving unemployment rate, which is down to 4%. Talk about still the impact of the American Rescue Plan, which was the first bill he passed when taking office. Talk about the lingering impact about that. But also, make sure you note that there's still a lot more work to do, right? I think in the White House briefing they released online, it emphasized that he's still going to press for Congress to pass provisions of the Build Back Better Act as a big part of cutting costs and lowering expenses for American families, everything from prescription drugs to child care costs, even extending the child care tax credit that was cut off a few months back. Getting that back in order, getting the Build Back Better back on track with the Democrats in the Senate to pass is going to be critical for Democrats going into these midterms.
Yeah, when you look at what we know about the speech thus far, in addition to the reporting I shared, we also have these excerpts. The one on inflation I'll read is where Biden says he has the plan to lower people's costs, not their wages, move goods faster and cheaper in America, more jobs where you can earn a good living. And instead of relying on foreign supply chains, he says, let's make it in America. Juanita, this is a speech so big historically that we start covering it and reading it before the president even gives it. It's a tradition, as I've mentioned, to give out the excerpts. What do you think of that message on inflation?
I think it's a big message, especially thinking back, a few months ago when we had the logjam at ports across the country and fears about supply going into the holidays. I think the president is going to say, look, not only did we address that, we came up with new plans on how to change and shift supply chains going forward, as you just read there, Ari. I think the other point he's going to make is about making sure shipping across oceans is more fair and available to American businesses, too. And so all of that combined with the other components we've discussed, provisions from the Build Back Better Act and more, I feel like the president thinks he's on good, firm standing to deliver some big changes for the American public. But the emphasis there is on delivering it, right? Like when there's not as much confidence as he would hope going and considering his approval numbers, people are going to be looking for what he and Democrats can deliver. And so the qualms last year were, oh, well, he doesn't run Congress. But the reality is he runs the Democratic Party, and he needs to step up and broker these deals to deliver for what Americans need.
Juanita Tolliver with the breakdown. We always come to you for the Eye on Washington. I know you'll be watching tonight. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thanks, Ari.
Absolutely. That does it for the Beat special coverage, but I want to make sure you know exactly where to keep it locked because Joy Reid's coming up, and then we have our special MSNBC coverage featuring Joy, Rachel, Nicole, and Steve Kornacki. That special pre-speech coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on MSNBC. And then after this quick break, the ReidOut with Joy Reid is up next.